Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the second in our coverage of Hickman's Avengers run. We are Bob in Cascadia and Matt in the Southland. We are Uncanny Treks. We are talking about Adjectiveless Avengers, number 7 through 11. This is the original trade of Hickman's Adjectiveless Avengers run, The Last White Event, Volume 2. Matt, do you remember the artist Dustin Weaver? He was on the S.H.I.E.L.D. series that Hickman did around the same time.
I don't know, Bob. I have this thing where I don't watch or read anything with just shield on it.
That's fair. I mean, I watched the first episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I was like, I can't do 20 episodes this year.
I got tempted to watch that Nick Fury movie.
David Hasselhoff. Was it a failed pilot that was turned into a TV movie? Was that what it was?
Correct. Yeah, it was a TV movie that came around the same time as that Generation X TV movie that was so bad.
Man, don't tamp on my nostalgia for the Generation X TV movie.
As an adult.
I'll make Noah watch that with me.
You really should. I would totally do an episode on that show with y'all if you wanted to do that. We could totally cover Generation X.
I imagine the show was maybe 95, 96.
It was probably, we were in fourth grade.
That was right on the heels of that, the comic coming out. That's cool. At some point in the future, I would love to do the original Generation X comic with you. I deeply love that comic.
Yeah, I'd have to give it a shot. I haven't really read any of it, I don't believe.
I had a few issues of it, but only a few that you probably read.
I probably read those.
Listeners, we are not talking about Generation X, which is a comic, but we are talking about Adjectiveless Hickman, Volume 2, Last White Event. We're starting with issue number 7, The Last White Event. Matt, what goes down in issue number 7?
Well, with the name like The Last White Event, it almost sounds like Hickman is trying to set us up for what's that party they all have at the X-Men thing in Krakoa? Fire Gala, The Last White Event, the Hellfire Gala. Like, it sounds almost like that, but it's not as cool.
I want to say, Matt, in 2012, I think The Last White Event was a perfectly acceptable name for an issue in a trade. In 2025, it does sound a little bit like white genocide conspiracy.
A white genocide conspiracy, or really a ball that's like full of people dressed
or
in
a Hellfire Gala.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You get to pick.
Yeah.
All right, so anyway, Adam sends the Avengers to retrieve the Star Brand, whose creation has destroyed his school. Because Star Brand, Bob, the dude who is Star Brand, was a student.
And he destroyed a whole school, Matt.
And he was a college student. So when the stuff came from the sky, it just blew up the whole school. It branded the earth, Bob.
Listeners, if
you want to guess what shape that brand was?
Was it a star, Matt?
It was a star, Bob.
I called it, Matt. I called it. I'm a smart guy. So, Matt, if our listeners listen to our first relatively extensive discussion of the first trade of Hickman's Avengers, and we're like, oh yeah, they're going to do that again for the second. We're not. This stuff is fine. I like these issues just fine, but there's not that much to say about them. We're going to go much faster here. So I'm going to go ahead and say my favorite panel for issue number 7, Matt, and that was on page 13, where we see Captain Universe and Superior Spider-Man, Otto Octavius, just not getting along, Matt.
My favorite panel, Bob, was the reveal with the blonde guy with glasses in the previous panels that we saw was the actual Star Brand, because they show you these people who could be Star Brand, and you think, oh, it's that guy, it's that guy, it's this guy. But then several pages later, you see the same panels, but the character that becomes Star Brand is highlighted. And he was there all along.
He was doing a work study, working in the cafeteria in the background.
Yeah. It's also very important to note, folks, that at the end of this issue, when we finally see Star Brand meeting the Avengers, he's naked. Keep that in mind.
Matt really wants you to keep this in mind.
Yes.
It's very important.
And he is a college-age student, though, I believe. So we're good there. Because that was my concern at first when it was a school that got blown up. I was like, what is this?
What school?
And no, this isn't a high school. This is a college.
Well, Matt, one other thing I just wanted to say, on page 20, we both have Star Brand and then we have Night Mask. And we talked last episode about the 80s New Universe publishing initiative that Marvel did. And Star Brand and Night Mask, although in the 80s Star Brand had a space in it, it does not have a space in it in the 2010s, dear listener. But in the 80s, it had a space, and Star Brand with a space and Night Mask were two of the big 80s New Universe books that I basically know nothing about, never read. And these are slightly different versions of them from what I understand, but I just thought it was interesting to highlight that for people.
And listeners, the only thing I know about the New Universe is what Bob just told you, so I'm lost as well.
I have never gotten the sense that the 80s New Universe books are worth reading, but listener, if I'm wrong, please let me know. I might look at them on my own.
So anyway, we're going to move on to issue 8, Bob, which is
Star Branded.
Star Branded. Because we got to figure out what's up with this kid. So after the battle with the Avengers, Star Brand is transported to Mars by Adam to meet his creators.
So my favorite panel on this one, Matt, was on 11, where Hyperion is hovering over Star Brand, and he has an amazing Hickman dialogue. Hyperion tells Star Brand, it's no small sickness becoming death.
Yeah, in Hyperion, man, he goes off on this kid and is like, yeah, you did something wrong. You should suffer the consequences when the kid literally just got the powers. Gives him no slack.
I
Captain
mean, these
America
aren't
tries to be nice.
these aren't the X-Men, Matt. They're not here to protect people with strange new powers. They're here to beat the crap out of them.
And that's exactly what happens, Bob, which is why my favorite panel is the reveal that my favorite panel is that the naked dude's about to get hammered by Thor. It was on page
Yeah.
16. I mean, the naked
You know,
dude is literally about to get smashed by Thor in the chest, and he's naked, being held one arm by Captain America, one arm by Thor. Anyway, Thor's coming down with a hammer, and the fire from the hammer is what covers his pee-pee, so you don't have to see it.
very thoughtful of Dustin Weaver on the art. Matt, I do want to say that I think you're somewhat intentionally going for this, but I don't think you fully recognize what it means when you say a naked dude is about to get hammered by Thor.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't sound right. My bad.
If the naked dude and Thor are into it, it's fine. I just want you to recognize what it is that you wrote on the page. That's all I'm saying.
And I want to do a quick apologize to the listeners. It's Hulk holding down this guy from behind while Captain America has his hand. I guess Starbolt's trying to shoot fire out of his hand, and that's what's covering his pee-pee. I apologize. It was not Thor's hammer. Thor's coming at him full on from the front. Iron Man's coming from the side, and he's saying, "Now, Thor, do it." So, listeners, just find this panel, and you be the judge. Do you think the naked dude's about to get hammered by Thor?
Yeah, indeed, Matt. And also, this allows me to do two of my favorite things, which is correct you and reference the Legion of Superheroes, because you said Starbolt and it's Starbrand.
Starbrand, my bad.
Is a member of the Imperial Shi'ar Guard, who is an analog to what, Matt?
The Legion of Superheroes.
The Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah,
exactly.
which we all know the Legion came first, Bob. We know. You want to
Thank you.
remind us of
Thank
this.
you. I'm glad you admit that. I'm glad you know you're confused on that very
All right.
important subject.
So in case listeners are lost now, so far, Starbrand has been created. The Avengers encountered him.
He's been hammered by Thor.
He was about to be hammered by Thor, but he's rescued by Adam, who then says, "Hey, let me take you to your real home world, which is Mars." So he zaps him to Mars, where he meets his creator, Ex Nihilo.
That sets us up for issue number 9, Starbound.
Right.
I don't know how you get confused with titles like Starbrand, Starbranded, Starbound, Starbolt being a character. How do you get confused by that, Matt?
It's so simple, Jonathan Hickman. It's so simple. All right. The Avengers learned that the bioweapons sent to Earth by Ex Nihilo were not to destroy the planet, but to make it sentient. Should I put Firebrand?
That's a Golden Age DC hero, Matt. What you doing?
My bad. Starbrand accidentally destroys one of the weapons, leading to his exile. We just know too many of these characters, Bob, and they all run together after a while.
So, continuing our quick run through this, listeners, my favorite panel of issue number 9, Starbound, featuring Starbrand, was page 13, where we had some worm sex. And I had to ask, Matt, did you get some Xenomorph vibes off that worm sex?
It was disgusting, Bob. And they're just watching them do it. And they even specifically state it's not that, but that's exactly what they're doing.
No, Matt, I just want to say, listeners, this is all going to climax when we get to Hickman's recently completed Alien vs. Avengers, which I'm very much looking forward to. And B, Matt, I finished Alien Earth yesterday with Noah. It sucks. I'm not watching season 2. I hate that show. I don't see why people are so excited about it. I hope it gets canceled. It hasn't been renewed yet. I really hope it gets canceled. That'd be really funny. It ends on a really crappy cliffhanger.
So now I might want to watch it because Bob hates it. Just to say, it's not that bad, Bob. I'll watch the first 2 episodes, I think.
We'll be talking about it for the worst shows of the year. But
all
yeah,
right.
You listeners, I don't know if we'll have a best TV of 2025 episode, but damn sure we're going to have a worst one. And Alien Earth will be prominently featured.
It'll be right after Lives of Mormon.
Look, man, I'm not going to get into Real Housewives of Salt Lake City or whatever it is, but it's got to be better than Alien Earth. I'll give it that.
All right, awesome. Well, Bob, so we're in this issue Starbound, and my favorite panel, you said yours was Alien Worm Sex. My favorite is Abyss, which is basically the mother. No, it's not the mother because it's the sister of Exiley. I don't know. Anyway, Abyss gets bisected by Starbrand, split in half. It's pretty cool. She's dead, but no, of course she's not.
She's very surprised that this happened.
I thought maybe, there's going to be some crazy going on her, but no, it was really cool to see it though.
Our first 3 issues were by Dustin Weaver, and then we're going to have Mike Diodato on art for 10 and 11. Diodato is a real signature late 90s artist. He had a pretty good run on Thor with Warren Ellis. I'm most fond of him. Matt, do you remember when Wonder Woman had an Azrael in the 90s, Artemis, who temporarily replaced her around the time of Zero Hour?
Vaguely, was this when she had when she switched outfits and lost her powers or whatever and became like the biker?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What Diana stayed in the book, unlike Superman and Batman, but yeah, she went to a more biker look, while Artemis had crazy braided hair and a big sword. You had a very Angelica look or a very Witchblade look to her, but I just describe her as Wonder Woman's Azrael, and I like Artemis, so I'm fond of Mike Diodato for creating Artemis. But Matt, all that said, this is a Mike Diodato issue. What goes down in issue number 10, Validator?
So, Bob, after a failed Alpha Flight mission, the Avengers travel to a site impacted by Ex Nihilo's bioweapons, where they lose track of time and evolve.
Matt, as we watched 3 Alpha Flighters just get grisly murdered, did you get any sort of nostalgic twinge back to them showing up in our X-Men comics as kids or them showing up in the X-Men animated series?
Slightly. Isn't that the one who fights the Hulk?
Oh, that's the Wendigo.
Yeah, he gets split down the middle. He's gross.
That's Wendigo, Validator, Kingdom, who I don't remember what Kingdom's deal is, and Box are 4 Alpha Flighters in this one.
Well, I never cared for Alpha Flight. They're the C team and they're from Canada, so what does that tell you?
I wanted to like Alpha Flight, Matt, but I did skim all of the Alpha Flight books from the 90s, and I couldn't get into it, man. I couldn't get into it. I don't like John Byrne that much. Some things John Byrne does I like, but mostly I don't like John Byrne. He's the initial writer-artist for Alpha Flight. His stuff's not very good, and I didn't like the successors that much. I will say the most recent Alpha Flight comic that came out at the end of Krakoa, written by Ed Brisson, if I remember correctly, that was a really good book. I really dug that. I was hoping they would do a follow-up in the new era of X-Men, the From the Ashes era of X-Men, and as far as I'm aware, they haven't. So I was a little sad about that.
Yeah. Did you catch, Bob, that they have you have the helicarrier with a shield, but the Canadians have their own like helicarrier with like a big naval leap on it?
Yeah, I didn't notice that, but that is funny. And I do like the implication that Canada is this dystopian military dictatorship that controls its superheroes and uses them for covert ops. I kind of like that potential in Alpha Flight.
That is cool.
More writers should lean into that.
Which was the idea with Weapon X, Wolverine.
Wolverine appearing on page 12 and in this issue generally really made me think of how funny it is he's in Hickman's lineup and how little he matters in the lineup.
Yeah, I forget he's there, Bob. The most forgettable character in this run so far.
To quote Arrested Development, Wolverine should be neither seen nor heard.
We're on issue 11, and I don't think I've heard him speak once, so...
Yeah, my favorite page from issue number 10 was 18. That's where we see Validator without her face. It's really creepy and rhymes with the horror of the worm sex from the previous issue.
I have several favorite panels when we are shown what happened during that lost time when everyone began to evolve. We get to see the evolutionary, what happens to each character. Smasher, you see the previous Smasher, you see the one now, and then eventually she's going to turn into a little rhinoceros thing that becomes Smasher. It's got a horn on it. I don't know what that is. Then you've got Bruce Banner, the Hulk. Then you've got Falcon, who his arm is becoming an actual bird claw and falcon wing, so that one was weird.
I don't really know my Hulk stuff, Matt. I think it's him as the Maestro, who is a villain form of the Hulk in the 90s, but I've never really read Hulk comics.
Then the next page, you've got Wolverine, and it's just costume changes. He looks the exact same. And you've got...
Same with Manifold.
Same with Manifold, yeah. Captain America's... But then you've got her father, that being Vindicator's father, and you see him with a gun, and then he dies. So his evolution is he's going to die, which we find out later he commits suicide, so... creepy.
Yeah, and this does do one of my favorite tropes in wrestling or comics when somebody whispers something to somebody.
Right, yeah, you don't know what's being said.
See it at the end of the issue, which is Vindicator, possessed by the evolution machines, tells her father the system is now online.
We don't know what that's about, but we'll figure it out.
Well, Matt, speaking of close reading the art, we're going to go ahead to issue number 11, Wake the Dragon. And before you summarize the issue for us, I just wanted you to take another look at the cover to issue 11 and tell me, how does this cover make you feel?
It's very action-oriented, Bob.
What's the dominant influence on this page, Matt?
Oh, it's definitely anime, but I mean, it's cool.
Yeah. I feel very conflicted, Matt, because I like ninjas, and these are my favorite Avengers.
Yeah, I like ninjas.
Not my favorite Avengers, period. But they're my favorite Avengers on this lineup, right? We've got Spider-Woman, we got Black Widow, we've got Cannonball, we've got Sunspot, we've got Shang-Chi, we got Captain Marvel. I really like those guys. And I like ninjas, but they're done in anime and manga style, Matt, and you know how I feel.
Oh, okay. I did not catch this, Bob, because I've been reading something Avengers by Jonathan Hickman, Volume 1, 2019. Didn't have the covers in it. So I pulled the cover up. And yeah, I can see now, yeah, Captain Marvel's wearing like samurai stuff.
Spider-Woman is full Sailor Moon, and Black Widow looks like she's going to drive a mech or something.
Cannonball's got, what's that guy's name? Super Sentai?
Like Super Saiyan or
Super Sentai, yeah, Super Sentai. Yeah,
yes,
that guy.
Sentai, I think you're right.
No, I don't know what's going on with Sunspot. It looks like he's in his Hulk form.
He's in Hulk form. And we do see that Shang-Chi actually did get weapons from Tony Stark. It's the nunchucks he's wielding on the cover. I do want to say, I think the nunchucks are lame. I like Shang-Chi just using his hands more. But nonetheless, I'm glad Shang-Chi's in this run, and I'm glad he's getting prominence.
You think those nunchucks are made out of adamantium, Bob?
Probably, Matt.
It's almost vibranium.
Or vibranium, yeah. Well, Matt, what goes down in this issue, Wake the Dragon, which has this anime cover?
Well, Bob, the Avengers infiltrate a casino to gather intel on AIM's upcoming plans.
This does look like a variant cover. You would make a shop, buy 100 copies of this issue,
right.
This variant. Not too much to say about this issue. It's a fun enough issue. My favorite panel comes on page 16, where we see the AIM guys in their beekeeper helmets, but also tuxedos, and they're trying to keep up partying with Cannonball and Sunspot. I thought that was pretty good.
My favorite panel is when Black Widow shoots all the rapey guys.
Yeah, that is a sadder angle to this, is all the rapey guys, but at least Black Widow puts them in their place.
There's this weird panel where, like, Jessica Drew is surrounded by 5 dudes.
Matt, we're going to move on next week to the first original trade of New Avengers. That's Volume 1, Everything Dies. That's New Avengers, issues 1 through 6.
So that's
what we're covering next week.
Not adjectiveless Avengers. We're looking at New Avengers.
Yes, volume 3, 1 through 6, or if you're looking at the original trades, Volume 1, Everything Dies.
Which runs parallel to this, correct?
Yes, and there's 2 arcs in it. There's 2 3-part arcs in it, and the first 3-part arc takes place before the comics we read today, and the second arc, I think, either takes place in between the comics we read for today or after.
Okay. All right, Bob. So it's a little different. It's not quite Krakoa Hickman. It's not quite as complex.
I did ask about, did this volume in particular, issues 7 through 11, did that change your perspective after the more heady first 6 issues at all?
It seems a little slower and it's slightly disconnected. I understand where Hickman's going with having the different sites that this bioweapon thing has been dropped on, and them exploring those sites, that being a big piece of it. And I'm sure AIM is coming into play with that, and it's all going to tie together. You just have to wait it out with Hickman. And I know this from reading his stuff.
And
it'll all make sense. It's not going to make sense in one issue.
There is that third Avengers book, Avengers World, that I just want us to cover at some point all in one shot, right?
Yeah.
And in Avengers World, that book, as I recall, very much has the vibe of the last issue here, issue 11, which is, the anime infiltration issue, or those last 3 solo issues from the first trade of focus on Hyperion, focus on Smasher, focus on Captain Universe.
Oh, yeah.
So when we get to Avengers World, as I remember at least, that's what Avengers World is for, is from
the shorter stories where it's self-contained to some degree, but there'll be parts that tie into the bigger plot.
And the Avengers World is very much not necessary for reading the Hickman run. We could easily not read it and it would be fine. I just remember there being some fun stuff, and it's, well, if we were ever going to do it, we should do it now.
As far as the last White event goes, that was the title of it. Did it fully explain?
Yeah, no, but it's setting up Infinity, which is coming. All right, listeners, will join us for our coverage of New Avengers next week. I'm Bob in Cascadia. That's Matt in the Southland. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.